Hello and welcome. My name is Nicholas Strickland and today I'll be focusing on social justice with specific focus on bullying in physical education and how it affects participation. Social justice issues arise throughout everyday life and are particularly evident within the education sector. Social justice is defined by Ashman and Elkins as fairness and equality between human beings and is fundamentally about keeping a balance between groups in society. Social justice can be obscured through barriers that people face due to factors such as gender, race and disability, as well as many others. It is through the removal of these barriers that arise from the factors that social justice can be improved to help support people of all backgrounds. Social injustices are identifiable within many school classrooms, and it is vitally important for teachers to be mindful of, as it is the basis of ensuring a fair class, which in turn gives students an equal opportunity to succeed, a major factor of every school's ethos. By having the knowledge of social injustices within the classroom, teachers are able to try to correct the injustice and improve the equality within the classroom. This is specifically important within physical education classes, as physical activity is vital for every person, and it is often PE classes at school which helps to determine the participation levels of people for the remainder of their lives. As a physical education teacher, it is a strong part of my beliefs that every student should participate within physical activity at school and that each student has the right to feel safe and supported within each of my classes, with the hope that their enjoyment gained from these lessons inspire them to continue to participate in physical activity for the remainder of their lives. However, this feeling of safety is jeopardized through a number of social justice issues, with the social justice issue of bullying a major factor. Bullying is defined as unwanted or aggressive behaviour that involves a real or perceived power imbalance. The behaviour is repeated or has the potential to be repeated, and both the bully and those who are bullied may have serious lasting problems. Some examples of bullying are making threats, teasing, spreading rumours, name-calling, and leaving someone out on purpose. This form of bullying is not tolerated at any school. However, it still finds its way into classrooms and is a social injustice that needs to be fixed. This injustice is beginning to cause unrest within a grade 8 class that consists of 18 boys and 8 girls, and the supportive learning environment within the class is beginning to be placed at risk. From this supportive environment being at risk, social justice is not fully evident within the classroom, and the equality and fairness between all students is not at a true level. This is especially important as a supportive environment that is fair and equal is the basis for participation within the classroom, and as bullying becomes more evident, the likelihood of consistent participation with a high level of effort is being minimised. This directly relates to the professional standards of teaching, Standard 4, create and maintain supportive and safe learning environments, and more specifically, Substandard 4.1, support student participation. With this social justice issue impacting on a major factor of the Australian teaching standards, it is important to fully understand the impact of this issue by reviewing the issue within schools and by further exploring appropriate literature. At a local school level, the bullying within schools is evident within everyday life, and within PE lessons it is clear that bullying occurs from the better athletes towards kids of lower levels. Within one grade 8 class during the week of October 2014, bullying was seen on a total of 13 occasions within a 70-minute lesson, with the majority of this bullying occurring during a game where 2 students didn't successfully complete skills in the game. This high instance of bullying within one observation of a class justifies the reasoning behind investigating the social justice issue of bullying within physical education classes, and to further reinforce this justification, it is important to look at bullying at a state and national level. At a state level, a survey of 20,000 students reported that a total of 27% of middle school students listed themselves as being bullied every few weeks or more, an alarming statistic revealing that 1 in every 4 students often feel bullied. The majority of this bullying is due to hurtful teasing, which is easily identifiable within PE lessons, as students are usually targeted for what skills they can't successfully complete. These factors are further reinforced by a national survey from Bagshaw and McNillich, which also identified that 1 in 4 students are affected by bullying, with Baker identifying more than 98% of high school students saying they heard casual bullying remarks within their PE classes. With this high level of bullying evident within schools at local, state and national levels, the impact of this bullying needs to be identified. The major impact, which is reinforced heavily through literature, is that when students are bullied within PE classes, they are more likely to reduce their participation in both PE classes and future physical activity. Research from Jensen, Cushing and Elledge initially showed that overweight or obese children are more likely to be bullied during PE classes, which affects their future participation. However, Jensen, a psychology professor at Brigham Young University, and his team have now concluded that the effect of bullying on participation and the likelihood of being bullied during physical activity is equal for all students regardless of their fitness. This research from Jensen, Cushing and Elledge looked at the activeness of students across a span of 1 year and analysed it along with how often they felt bullied, with those students who were bullied tending to withdraw from being physically active. Research from Collins, Barley and Neuronet agree with these findings that when a person is bullied during an activity, they are less likely to engage in that activity in the future. When this participation within physical activity begins to lack, Neuronet suggests that the likelihood of future health problems such as obesity and others surface, making physical activity in a supported environment a must. The effect of the bullying and the snowball effect thereafter is heavily documented, and there is little to no literature that supports an opposing ideology on the matter, thus justifying the consensus of the negative effects of bullying in PE and making a clear link to the need for a supportive environment. To ensure a supportive environment is developed, experts believe that a team approach must be developed by everyone involved within the student's life, including parents, schools, and teachers. There is consensus in terms of tackling the social injustice of bullying within PE classes, and it requires teachers and parents to work together to create a culture of inclusivity within the classroom and the school as a whole. Parents and teachers then need to continue to create ground rules in regards to bullying and utilise positive terms and reward good behaviour to counteract bullying. From the literature that has been analysed, it is clear that bullying within PE classes is a social injustice as it creates an inequity within the classroom and further places a barrier between the kids who are bullied and physical education in the future. From this injustice, the key feature that is discussed to address the issue is to create a culture of inclusivity, which requires all entities involved in a student's life to work together. As a beginning teacher, I will more than likely encounter this issue within my classroom, specifically my PE classes, and it is vitally important that I develop a plan which could be implemented in my first year as a teacher. This plan firstly includes setting clear boundaries and rules in regards to the topic of bullying during my first week with my classes, as suggested by Michael Linson. This immediately sets the tone for the class and allows the students to gauge the expectations that are required, whilst also allowing the teacher a quick reference point to refer back to if bullying arises. To further demonstrate to the students the need for an inclusive classroom, the statistics that have been revealed in this seminar will be discussed in the first theory lesson of the PE class, with the lesson focusing on bullying and the importance of creating a supportive environment. The theory lesson on bullying is perfect for the first theory lesson of each semester, as it immediately reminds the students of what is expected within my classes and within the rest of the school. The next theory lesson should be used as an anti-bullying lesson, where students learn how to deal with bullies and how to make judgments on the appropriate response to the situation. A website like the Safe and Supportive School Communities Workgroup's website, Bullying No Way, which you can see here, is a great resource for teachers to use. These two strategies need to be used along with positive feedback as cited by the Stop Bullying resource. The positive feedback and rules and boundaries need to be a regular occurrence within the class and can't be used intermittently. This plan requires constant monitoring, and it is vitally important that as a beginning teacher I am aware of what is happening within my class at all times, as once a supportive environment is set up, it is easy to maintain through the use of constant positive feedback. To further enhance the effectiveness of the anti-bullying campaign, I can contact parents at home via phone call or a letter and advise them of what is happening and refer them to the website Bullying No Way, as a very valuable website for them also. By doing this, I am beginning to create a supportive culture which aligns with the recommendations of Dorland. Whilst this plan does look quite simple and only involves 2 specific lessons on the issue, the most important aspect is the constant support and inclusivity within the classroom. And this is firstly achieved by the teacher being aware of the situations around them and always planning PE activities that do not subject students to exclusivity. If this is the case, it is important that teachers modify the activity to ensure that there is equality within the classroom. Bullying is a constant force within school life, and this is why there is no specific time frame for this plan, as there is a continuous need for sustained monitoring and upkeep on the topic. To identify if this constant upkeep and the plan as a whole is successful, the supportiveness and inclusivity of the students within the class can be gauged. If there are no evident signs of bullying within the class, and positivity is the focus of the students, the plan is somewhat successful as it has removed the social injustice of students being bullied within the classroom. A survey at the end of the term which asks the students how safe and supported they felt within the classroom is another way that the successfulness of this plan can be determined. When implementing an action plan like this, it is vitally important to critically analyse it, and to do so the SWOT framework will be used, which analyses the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats of the plan. Firstly, the strengths of the plan are that once a supportive environment is created, it is in place for a long time, providing the constant monitoring mentioned within the plan is kept. This supportive environment provides equity within the classroom and encourages participation, which, as suggested by Jensing, Cushing and Elledge, creates a positive mindset for physical education and encourages future participation, which can help improve students' health. The weaknesses of the plan are very similar to the threats, and it is that the bullying can occur in other classes, as well as during after-school sport. From this happening, particularly during other sports, students once again are jeopardised to the research from Collins that was discussed earlier, in that they are more likely to not participate in physical education later in their lives. Another weakness is that bullying can be inconspicuous, and whilst a teacher can do everything they can to identify bullying and restrict it, it can still take place unnoticed and be an ongoing issue that can relate negative experiences with physical activity. Whilst there are some weaknesses for the plan, the opportunities that arise are exciting. If this plan works at the basic level, the next step would be to gain a school approach on the matter and have the first week of each grade's PE class dedicated to bullying and creating supportive environments. By doing this, it creates the same cultural ideology around bullying as suggested by the resource Stop Bullying, and this school-wide approach can be used as the basis for supportive environments. Further opportunities include changing theory topics for first term grade 7 PE to bullying. By doing this, the first students entering into the school have a greater understanding of bullying and specifically its effects on PE classes, and this allows for teachers to reference this topic throughout their schooling. The threat to this opportunity is that the school may already have its own bullying policy and may wish to utilise it in its current aspect only. This causes the biggest problem in trying to expand this plan to a school-wide approach. However, if the plan is adapted to the school's current policy, it can be quite useful. This SWOT analysis, along with the formation of a plan and the analysis of social justice issues, in particular bullying in physical education classes, and the effects it has on children's participations in physical activity throughout school and beyond, I have been able to identify and expand my knowledge of the topic to a deeper extent, whilst also learning about myself and my future profession of teaching. In terms of the issue, I have learnt that bullying can occur at all times and can be something as simple as a child sighing when a student is picked on their team. The increased knowledge of what is considered bullying and the effect it can have on people's health has made me a more critical teacher in terms of what is happening in my class, especially in physical education. I have learnt that bullying is in no way or form acceptable, and that if I, as a teacher, let bullying occur, it can lead to detrimental health problems for my students in the future. This has further led me to being able to identify that I myself am sometimes too lenient within my classrooms, and that it is vital for me to explain the process of bullying and its effect to my students, and then continually identify and correct bullying behaviour. It is important that when I become a professional educator, that I ensure I constantly monitor my classroom and encourage anti-bullying behaviour. I need to ensure that my classroom is a safe and supportive environment for all students, and that all students support one another and encourage participation. This participation is vital within all classrooms, and by using action research throughout this seminar, I have been able to identify the need for an approach to try to raise the social justice issue of bullying in physical education classes. The approach has helped me to develop a rectification for the issue by allowing me to first observe the research that has been conducted on the topic, and then use this research as a guideline to create a plan to minimise the issue. The best part of this action research cycle is that it guides the user to utilise the SWOT framework, which is a vital part of reflecting on a proposed plan or any type of practice. This SWOT framework is priceless for a teacher, as it can be used when developing plans like the one mentioned in this seminar, but it can also be used for everyday school lessons to help improve the success of that lesson. It is through this personal reflective feedback that professional educators can continue to improve their teaching abilities and add to their lifelong learning. This lifelong learning is important for all educators, and it is through action research that has been identified within this seminar and demonstrated throughout this seminar that we can ensure we are constantly improving our practices and ensuring social injustices are minimised. In terms of the focus issue of bullying within physical education classes, it is my goal as a beginning professional educator to use my knowledge of the need for a restriction on bullying during physical activity due to its direct correlation with minimal physical involvement in students' lives later on, and utilise this knowledge to implement a plan similar to the one discussed throughout this seminar. This will hopefully engage students and encourage students to continue participating in physical activity by creating a safe, supportive and inclusive environment. Thank you very much for listening, and I leave you with the hope that this seminar has encouraged you to create a supportive and inclusive environment within your classrooms. Thank you.